And we're back. Tonight is the third night of the Who Do Men Say I Am series. Tonight's topic is, who do men say I am? A harlot? Let me give you the definition. A harlot is an old-fashioned term, primarily from biblical days, for a prostitute or a woman who engages in sexual activity for money. It can also be used to metaphorically speak about women who compromise their own principles for personal gain. Okay? Some people might call me that. And I guess if you're someone without common sense or any knowledge of me, that might be the case. I have written about my experience with plural marriage or plural love specifically, and discovering my own sexuality in my book, Through the Dark and to the North Node. And if you're someone who's seen me on social media, you might have seen me in a tank top and a bonnet. None of that makes me a harlot though. But I guess I do understand how people's opinions of me could be, or anyone can be. If you're someone that has known me or heard of me through someone else, you've probably heard a tale or two about my sexual exploits, but lack the causation or gusto to ask me about their validity. I guess I understand that too. I guess that's juicy to discuss, what people are doing with their body parts. We can't bear allowing people to navigate those waters for themselves. We must give our all opinion on everything, right? Wrong. Yes, I've had enough sex in my life to last a lifetime. I've had the wildest and craziest experiences of most people's dreams. Things most people will never experience. And I'm not ashamed of it. Like the 3-day span where I had 141 orgasms. Or the loving teenage way I lost my virginity. I'm not ashamed of it. I won't hide it. And I don't think you should hide your sexual exploits either, if that's your calling. I did not always do the right thing. I did not always connect with the right people. I had to learn that. I didn't value myself enough at that time. And I did not value or really understand the spiritual penance that connecting with people can have on your soul. I had to pay for that. And with all of that experience, I can guarantee you that I've never, ever needed to have sex for personal gain. Never. Just good old-fashioned hard work, studying, education, and the grace of God have gotten me to where I am today. Not even the old marriage bedding required me to do such. I married a man that was a gifter based upon his tax bracket and his ego. And because of that, I amassed a lot of things that I never had to ask for or even wanted a lot of times. We worked together to obtain everything that we both individually have now. My career has been an interesting one, really. I've had to work really hard all the way through my life and to earn my way through every part of my life. And I can't say that I was ever given an advantage to anything solely because of who I slept with. Because, and I never needed to. There was no first car for me. There was no college fund. There was no trust fund. There was no Parent Plus loan. I paid for most of my own wedding. I got a few things that were gifted to me. There was just no silver spoon for me. There was no help for me. I studied for every test, earned every degree and certification. I even created programs and policies for companies that they're still using to this day and making money off of. And I'm no longer working there. It's been hard work and brain power for me. I've been at the helm of my own life, my own career, and I'm proud of that, both good and bad. But if I had been a harlot, God's love would have redeemed me. I would ask to be listed somewhere between the woman at the well and the woman who washes Jesus' feet with her tears and dried them with her hair. If I had ever been a harlot and redeemed, I would show my appreciation by devoting my life to following and being a benefactor of God, just as Mary Magdalene had with Jesus. If I had been a harlot, I would give up worldly comforts to do his will. I would walk boldly for him. I would tell the world about the many miracles he had performed in my life. I would help other harlots turn away from lower vibrational things and to higher their vibration in order to do the work of God. And any book that views women through the lenses of anything less than divine is conjecture. We have to consider rhetoric, author, purpose, time period of that said text. But certainly we wouldn't take it just at face value. And because I haven't always been perfect, because I have had to continue to ask him for help, I still will do the aforementioned. It's been hard for me. This has not been an easy life. And because I know that I continue to need his mercy, I am slower to judge people and faster to atone for my own sins. Because I know my assignment on earth is bigger than my ego, I even gave up a 20+ year relationship and marriage with an atheist or agnostic or whatever he is at this point. I currently live my life similarly to a hermit in order to be my highest self and to do the will of God. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm not where I'm going to be, but I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. But honestly, who would you rather learn from? Could a person like me, considering all I've told you, considering all the things that you've heard about me, could a person like me give you hope about redemption in Jesus Christ? What if I give you a testimony about how many times my life has come within an inch of death and been spared? Would that satisfy you? What if I told you I was a messenger of God? Could I give you a message? Would that somehow make me worthy and lead you to following him? You know, I've fought people in real life and gone to jail. It's been 20 plus years, but knowing that I've been out of that lifestyle or not in that situation for so many years, would that be enough for you? Or should I just lie to you and tell you I'm perfect? What if I told you I was perfect my whole life and I never did anything? Would that be enough to satisfy the church? The truth is, God is not concerned about how I got to this point. He's more concerned about the work that I am doing and will continue to do. The difference is now I'm not afraid to do it. And I'm not afraid to say the things he leads me to say. I used to be worried about what people thought about my spiritual belief and practices. And I concluded that because of my journey, God has chosen me. And I will walk boldly. Angelic beings, along with God, and ascended ancestors walk with me daily, protect me daily, speak to me. Should I be ashamed of that? Does that make me demonic? Because I assure you, it's not something I requested. I understand how the spiritual realm works. And I am anointed for his purpose beyond public opinion. At conception, my hands were anointed to bless. I learned this as I nursed my father back to health during and through my parents' divorce. As a child, my voice was anointed to sing. And I learned this when I was less than 5. I have always had that thing when it came to singing. And some people might even call me a siren. You know, those mermaids that sing and change the atmosphere. And that's just what I can do when I'm singing. My spiritual eyes have always been sharp. I have always had the gift of mediumship. And I confirmed it at age 19 when I had been having dreams about people I had never known. But when I explained them to my father, it was described as my grandparents that I had never met. When my father died, I felt his soul leave this earth. After my father's funeral, I channeled him from the night of that funeral up until this morning. Does that make me demonic? It's certainly something I didn't ask for. And I can tell you that as a child, no child wants to dream about dead people or see and feel things that are uncomfortable. Knowing that, does that make me a bad person? I have always been wise counsel to men and women. The only thing was, when people would come to me, I would wrap it up in the coat of business savvy and education and experience, when realistically, most times, it was spiritual advice. Things that God would give me to give a person. Knowing that, could that lend your ear for me to give you a message? considering all that you know about my life? Am I worthy of your time? And I came to this earth as a mother and a teacher. And my mama told me that. I've always been the nurturer in every friend group and at work and in everyone's life. I've always been a mother, a nurturer at heart, a healer. That's not something I paid for. I've never needed to do anything to get these gifts. They were given to me. All I had to do was do the work. And that included working on myself, atoning for my own sins, and following the lead of God. I have had to work hard, both physically and spiritually, to be where I am. Everything I've amassed has been because of the work I have put in. It's not been because any man was giving me anything because of sex. So, what shall I render for the mercy of the church? What shall I render for the applause of the stadium? What more do I need to assert for people to hear me? Is it that because I'm a woman and I'm unafraid to show a little shoulder, does that mean I'm unworthy of carrying a gift or gifts from the divine? Listen, my journey may be different, and at times it could seem spooky to some. I understand that. But I can assure you that it is an anointed path. It's not a game. There is no smoke screen. There is no trick. It's who I am. It's who God made me to be. And I'm walking fully and boldly in that. And as I take this cup, as I answer this call and have answered the call, and as I continue to do the work of the Lord, I urge you to reserve your judgment for your neighbor and your loved ones. Instead of being a foe, we need friends. It's likely that, and I said this the other night, it's likely that Jesus would be someone like me, a little odd or a lot of odd, and misunderstood. Just because I have lived a lot of life and I'm unashamed of it, it does not mean that I am without the value and without the anointing of God. He chose me. And I refute the claims of being a harlot. Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you tomorrow.